growing myself in one direction or the other. And either it is towards my goals or it's away from my goals. And so therefore, that's why I'm very mindful of the entertainment that I am consuming. People ask me all the time, how do you stay so focused? How are you so disciplined? How are you so consistent? How do you manage to do so much with so little? And the answer is always the same for me: my algorithm. Welcome back to another episode of Asset Underdog, where I, Brooke Brown, share my journey of growing my net worth to six figures in 6 months. Can I do it? Well, if you've been following along for this much of the ride, I have for the past, 7 weeks or so, I have been on a roll as it relates to growing my wealth and protecting it too in some ways. And I'm sharing what I'm learning along the way. I'm sharing my tips, I'm sharing my tricks, I'm sharing even insights into the relationships that I have with different professionals that help me in this wealth building journey. So without further ado, let's get into it. And I'm going to talk to you about my algorithm. Now, I know you're familiar with the term because of social media. Social media platforms have algorithms that dictate what you see, the content that you see and engage with, and then it feeds you more and more the things that you pay attention to, right? The definition of an algorithm is this: an algorithm is a precise step-by-step set of instructions or rules followed to solve a specific problem, perform a calculation, or accomplish a task. Well, the task I'm trying to accomplish is to grow my net worth and to, grow my relationships and my network and my, of course, net worth. So what do I do to protect my algorithm and to give me the inputs that will help me along on this journey? The first thing that I did to perfect my algorithm is to divest from the facade of perfection that is Instagram. I'll explain. So in truth, I didn't really feel like I was plugged in lately to the kind of content that validated my existence. It wasn't helping me grow. It wasn't helping me stay focused. It wasn't helping me, find new ways of doing things and approaching life and this journey. It started with me just unfollowing celebrities and influencers and brands that were kind of just making me feel inferior, making me feel like I wasn't enough or like I didn't have enough. And like, the feeling of satisfaction and fulfillment and contentment is going to be on the other side of this purchase or the other side of engaging with this brand or this profile. And I just was fed up, I was just like, what, this just does not make me feel good. And then I stopped really engaging with my feed because my feed was populated with all these accounts that I did not sign up to follow. They just popped up in my feed and I was like, this is annoying. So I stopped paying attention to my feed. Then the next thing that was to go was stories. So I follow a lot of people that, they produce interesting stories, interesting enough, but I wasn't really feeling invested in everyone's storylines. I just felt like it was like more of the same of people sharing, their night out on the town or their travels or, some insights that they were thinking of. And that's all well and good. Like it wasn't that I was particularly bothered by the people that I was following. It was more so that I would open the app and just be kind of like, why bother? So I don't know if you guys feel that way about Instagram, but more and more I was like, this gotta go, that gotta go. And you know what? My energy, my attention is better served elsewhere. So Instagram had to go. And that improved my personal algorithm where it felt like I was, up for the task of growing a brand and learning new skills and trying new things that take me out of my comfort zone. Like I wanted more of content, more outlets that would feed that kind of ambition, that kind of hunger. And speaking of ambition, I have like 3 playlists that are like, this is my payday playlist. This is when I'm feeling good because I done got paid. Then I have a playlist that's it's literally called Brooke Locks In. And it's like all this motivational, music that gives me like all the positive vibes, all the affirmations, all the encouragement, all the like, you got that dog in you kind of, music, right? And then, of course, I have my gym playlist, more of the same. But yes, I'm not listening to music that makes me feel sad, makes me feel vulnerable, makes me feel like I am not measuring up. I don't play that. No, because the inputs that come from music and podcasts and the TV that I watch and all that kind of stuff, I need to be mindful of what I am getting in my spirit, what I'm getting in the way of growing myself in one direction or the other. And either it is towards my goals or it's away from my goals. And so therefore, that's why I'm very mindful of the entertainment that I am consuming. Speaking of consumption, let's talk about my morning commute. My morning commute is precious, precious time that I do not play about because it gets me in the zone. It is my time to center myself before I head into work. And what I'm doing is I'm listening to audiobooks, I'm listening to podcasts, I'm listening to, motivational speeches, all that kind of stuff because I'm getting myself centered for the work ahead. If I were to just, listen to whatever, when I'm going on my morning commute, that's not time leveraged to the best capacity that I can, muster. So I needed to make sure that the audiobooks that I'm listening to, they're teaching me about sales, they're teaching me about storytelling, they're teaching me about marketing, and they're teaching me about how to be show up as a woman, black woman, hello, in business and in corporate America and in finance. I'm looking at all the content producers out there that have the same motivations that I do. And if they're telling me that yes, it's possible to close the deal, yes, it's possible to learn sales, yes, it's possible to learn how to actively listen or to negotiate or to, be just better at all the things that I'm trying to work at being better, that is time well spent on my commute and otherwise. So that is what I do. And of course, the books that I'm reading, they are also stimulating my intellect. They are teaching me, I have the Secure the Bag book club on here on my channel, What Brooke Spent. It is teaching me about techniques. It's teaching me about strategies. It's teaching me about, about, different business models and profiles in business and assets that you can acquire and how to acquire them and what to look out for when you're trying to close the deal and all that good stuff. And so, of course, I'm learning valuable information that is going to set me up for success both in the short term and in the long run. And that is why I produce the content that I produce on my channel, because I am showing you that self-education, that self-improvement, that, continuous learning is crucial to on your journey to growing and protecting your wealth. Oh, and while I cannot forget Pinterest. I have a literal manifestation board saved on Pinterest, and it's all these images that I'm like, this is the feeling that I want to experience. It may not necessarily be the exact outfit or whatever, but just the feeling, the feeling of being on stages or being in front of the camera or being, surrounded by orders for products or, all those kinds of like imagery that just makes you just get goosebumps because you're like, that's my future. That is what my algorithm looks like and is composed of these days. And lastly, I keep tabs on my screen time. So you know how on the iPhone app, there is a screen time application that monitors how much use you have on your phone, both if you're just picking up your phone, if you're, what apps that you're looking at the most and how many minutes or hours that you've spent on XYZ platform and whatnot. That is valuable data for me. And I look at it constantly to be like, am I spending enough time on the apps that are growing and developing me, or am I spending a lot of time doom scrolling, right? I heard the phrase, instead of doom scrolling, it's bloom scrolling. And I mean, whatever the kids do these days, whatever. Whoever came up with that phrase, it's a perfect description of how I like my algorithm to be. I am blooming. I am not doom scrolling anything. So yes, if that means that I'm a little bit out the loop, current event wise, if I don't know what the latest trend is, and when I do not have a fear of missing out. I have a fear of messing up. Okay, so it is what it is. And that is my algorithm. So I want to know in the comments, if you have a personal algorithm of your own, how are you monitoring your spirit, your intellect, your mind, your interest, your ambitions? How are you going about making sure that you guard your dreams with conviction? That's what I want to know in the comment section. All right. So this has been another episode of Asset Underdog. Stay tuned for the next episode, and I will share more of my journey with you next Thursday, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Stick with me. All right. Tell the others.